Okay, welcome everybody. Today we're going to do a safety analysis of a bicycle crash, quite a nasty looking one, which unfortunately had a reasonably good outcome. It occurred several weeks ago in Auckland and involved a altercation with a motor vehicle. And we're going to do a deep dive analysis on this as we go through it. Now, the first thing I want to do, we're going to be looking at this from a bicycle safety and bicycle skills point of view. And the first thing I want you to note is the positioning of the hands of two of the cyclists as we go through this. So you can see this rider, his hands are sitting on top of the handlebars, and there's the brake lever there. He might have a fingertip on the upper part of the brake. Now, when you're traveling along at 30, 35 kilometers an hour, following closely behind other cyclists and with very little space in between, you need to be on high alert all the time, particularly when you're in a suburb where you never know what is going to come out from the sides of the roads and so on, and also obstacles on the ground and so on. Cycling is a hazardous sport to be participating in, and to survive, you've got to really know what you're doing, and you need to be on high alert. So here they are cycling along, and now you can see the riders now starting to veer over to the right, and you can tell by the not just the direction of travel of the bicycles, but the fact that the riders are no longer perpendicular. They are beginning to lean over, so taking evasive action. And is it because this white car, you can see that wing mirror is out? Perhaps there's somebody in it about to pull out, but no, this black car here is beginning to pull out. But hey, there's plenty of room, plenty of warning time. The rider in front should be yelling out loud to those in front of her, behind him, uh, car up or car pulling out, any sort of words that gives some warning, or perhaps even raising his hand as in a stop sign to begin to slow down and stop. Okay. So you can see this car pulling out, and the riders are now starting to shift over to the right to take evasive action. Now, the first thing I want you to take note of is the positioning of the feet. The left foot is up, the right foot is down. In this case, the left foot is down and the right foot is up. There's no changing of position of the hands on the handlebars. You can see this chap in front. The hands do not look to me like they are in a position for activating the brakes adequately. And one of the points is that when one is beginning to prepare for evasive action, it's absolutely critical that the feet are level, so that the feet are level with the bottom bracket axle here. But instead, his foot is up, that foot is down, his foot is down, and the other foot will be up on the other side of the following of the rider ahead. The problem with that is it then means that the backsides of these riders are locked into the seat. They need to be able to disengage, lift their backside up, and then move backwards behind the seat as they begin to apply braking pressure, so that they don't just end up flipping forward and over and doing a flip over the handlebars. So let's move on. And you can see they are both in a precarious position for taking evasive action. Their backsides are locked into their seats. They cannot shift their center of gravity backwards in order to activate the brakes. The other thing is, you can see this chap here, he's not braking at all, or braking very poorly, with the result that he's getting very close to crossing his front wheel with this rider's back wheel. The other thing is, this car is pulling out quite slowly, and there's plenty of room for maneuvering. This rider in the front, the lead rider, is moving out to the far right. The road is clear, so you can do that safely. And if I was this rider, I would be beginning to take braking action in a controlled way and moving over to the left to come in. There's many meters of braking room available. Now, you can see if we go back ever so slightly, the back wheel here is beginning to skid. It does a little skid. It's not easy to see. Let's just move a little. But he's skidding. So I don't think he's applying any front brake at all. And you can see that his front wheel has gone past this person's back wheel, with the result that here they clash. Now, this rider here, his foot is down, that one's foot is down, foot is up, and you can't quite see it, but this foot is just starting to be disengaged. His weight is forward, his weight is forward as well. They're both in a very precarious position for braking. Now, one of the points to make is that under normal braking, 60–70% of your braking power comes from your front wheel, not your back wheel. If you try to brake back wheel only, you will skid. The other thing is that the harder the braking, the greater the front wheel's braking power. So if you were to look at, say, the pros in MotoGP motorcycle racing, you will see that sometimes as they come into a corner braking very, very heavily, the back wheels actually lift off the ground. It's scary, but it really illustrates that at the extremes of braking, 90% or more of the braking power comes from the front wheel. But it all depends on being able to shift the center of gravity backwards, to be able to shift it backwards and downwards, backwards and downwards. But neither of these riders have got any chance whatsoever of doing that, because their feet are in the wrong position. And now what you can see there, I'll just take it back a fraction, is, and he has taken his foot. This rider here has clashed, he's felt his rear wheel clash with the rider behind him. It's pushed him a little bit over to the right. He's disengaged that foot. That foot, you can see, is almost disengaging as well, and he's absolutely no braking now. He's going into panic mode. Guess what people do if they do not practice emergency skills like braking and maneuvering and cornering and so on? They go into panic mode. And when people go into panic mode, they freeze, and they also just make bad mistakes. So he's now starting to pitch forward. You can see his backside is coming off the seat, but he's going forward, not backwards. And this rider here is continuing to move ahead in front of this rider's back wheel. So let's continue. It's a disaster in the making. He puts his foot down. That is a golden rule. No, 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 no. Unless he is almost at a complete halt. Now, one of the other points to make is he's still got several meters. The rider in front has moved completely out of the way, so he's got clear air. But the trouble is, the rider behind him has bumped his wheel and caused him to do a bit of a wobble. Okay, let's proceed. There he goes. And they clash again, but he's completely out of control. When he put his foot down, his tyres disengaged from the ground, and with the result that he's lost complete control of his bicycle. His hands are nowhere near the brakes, and he's pitching forward. He's in big trouble, and by clashing there, his rear wheel has probably been brought to almost a complete stop, and with the result that he's pitching forward now, and he's lost his grip on the handlebars. He's pitching forward over the handlebars. You can see the clash of the wheels behind. I'm really amazed that this third rider here has managed to maintain control. He could have very easily lost his front wheel and been thrown over the handlebars himself onto the tarmac. And the other point to make is you can see there's still plenty of room between him and the car, but he's basically dead man flying. And the danger is that he's going to go ahead and do a Superman and land on outstretched hands, do a face plant, do enormous damage to his face, suffer brain injury, and probably paralyze himself from the neck downwards. That's where he's heading at the moment. But I think we will see that this clash here, which helped to cause the crash, but maybe it also saved him. So let's just have a look at what happens. There he goes. He's pitching right over the handlebars. No feet on the, there's his foot up there somewhere. And the engagement of the tyres on each other is there. And over he goes. He puts his hands down. Fortunately, because of the clash of the front of the rear and the front wheels, it has caused him, instead of pitching forward, doing a Superman, he's doing a barrel, or a tumble roll, I should say. And you can see still plenty of room. Over he goes, doing a complete flip with the bicycle. I want you to also keep a very close eye on the bicycle, because they later tracked the driver down and presented her with, I think, a $10,000 or $12,000 bill for damage to the bicycle. So let's see if we can spot damage being done to the bicycle as this is happening. And there we go. He taps his helmet reasonably lightly, thank goodness. He's lucky he didn't break his arms, but fortunately he's doing a tumble roll, so he's doing quite a nice roll. Keep an eye on the bicycle, please. And still no contact with the car, and he's doing a quite decent barrel roll onto the ground, and the bicycle, you can see, is landing on top of him. There might have been a little bit of contact of the top of the brake levers, but so far the bicycle has landed on him. It's possible that the rear wheel might have suffered a bit of stress during the clash of the two bicycle wheels earlier on, maybe, but at the moment the bicycle's getting off very lightly. And I must say that this rider here, my gosh, was he a lucky person. He needs to go and get a lottery ticket. And over he goes. The bicycle is still on top. He's completing his roll, coming to a halt, and you can see that the bicycle does make rather gentle contact with the rear of the wheel of the car, and the car consequently stops. There we go. And there we are now. So he's very, very lucky he got away. He definitely does need to count his lucky stars on that one. And the bicycle, maybe the brake levers are bent a little bit, maybe. There might be a little bit of scratching on the pedal there, maybe on the derailleur. No, probably not, because that's on that side, but maybe a little bit of scraping there. I'd say the bicycle got away very lightly. Now let's continue. And we now move to myself. And here I am speeding down a Wellington suburban street, downhill, a big downhill. And as we go, I'm keeping a close eye. I'm watching out for any vehicles that might be coming out. There's a vehicle there, so I'm watching. And there's a road sign, so I'll keep an eye on that as I'm going down. And the other point to make, apart from dodging manhole covers, is that I'm keeping in the center. I'm not over here. I'm giving myself lots of room because I'm going at speed at the moment. And so here I am. And you'll notice it's 30 kilometers an hour coming up. And although the road is clear, other than what we can see here and here, there's some hazards there, which I'm aware of. I'm slowing down to 29.99 kilometers an hour. This car I can see is unoccupied, but maybe this one, I've got to be very careful of this. And these cars are fine, so I'm fine. However, there is a road sign up ahead, so I know something's coming up. Here we go. And 30 kilometers an hour. And these cars, no reversing lights, no hints of anything happening. Everything looks clear. I'm watching that car. I'm suspicious of this vehicle. It looks like it could be a work vehicle that might be occupied. So there I go. The wing mirror is out, but I ascertained there's nobody in there. This vehicle's not going anywhere, but there's some road cones and that up ahead, so I'm being cautious here. I'm slowing down to the 29.99 kilometers an hour, and here we go, all clear. And I'm watching again. Is that car moving? No, but there's some activity going on here. So I'm going to give a good clearance of moving out to the right, but staying on my side of the road and giving plenty of clearance. There we go, all safe, all good. And I keep going, and then I see 50 kilometers an hour, so I'm going to let the brakes off to go at 49.99 kilometers an hour, and I'm all the while scanning for hazards. And the other point to make is you will note that I'm riding on my own. Riding on my own is the safest way to ride a bicycle. So I'm heading down. I'm cautious about this vehicle here. I can see something here, but it's all clear. Here we go. And down we go, but dodging the manhole covers and so on, looking out for any potential hazards. And then I spot here a car that is stopped in the middle of the road, and there's another car here. So what's going on? I've also just scanned those, no problem at all. So let me continue, and I'm going along at 49.99 kilometers an hour. And here we go, that car has stopped. So I'm now applying modulated braking, and I'm able to slow down very, very quickly. With these modern bicycles, if you know how to brake properly, you can stop them on a dime, almost on a dime, because they're so light for a start. And you apply the brakes right, you really can stop quickly, but it's all about the right modulation of the brakes, getting the front and rear brakes properly modulated and shifting the center of gravity appropriately so that you don't flip over the handlebars. So here we go. That was very safe. Now, the thing I want you to note about this here is my hands are positioned such that I always have my fingers on the brake levers so that I can, you can see two fingers there. This finger here and this finger here. That's all the power I need to be able to slam those brakes on. See there? I'm all set. I don't have my hands back here sitting on the drops here with my fingers away from the brake levers. Whenever cycling in any built-up area where there may be hazards. So climbing up the hill, notice my fingers even when I'm climbing. I'm ready. I'm always ready for the emergency. The other thing, the other point to make is that if I can't ascertain that a car is unoccupied, I will give it a wide enough berth so that if a passenger or driver's door were to open suddenly, I won't get doored. And you'll note when I'm further on, as I'm riding, I always give stationary cars enough leeway that if a door was to open, I won't get doored. So this is a very steep hill. It is very tempting to go very, very fast. I can see a car coming this way. I'm going to watch that carefully. There's somebody there. No, I'm going to pass him, no problem. Here's a woman with a dog, which I must be very careful of. So I'm allowing the speed to build, but all the while I'm scanning and I'm watching here. This dog looks fine. It's on a leash and under good control by its owner. So I still give them plenty of space. I'm out as my speed builds. I move further out to the right. I avoid that car by moving slightly in, now moving out, and I'm staying out almost on the white line, building up speed, but still keeping it controlled and watching out all the time for hazards. There we go. Exciting. It's so much fun riding a bicycle. And look at my fingers and notice me just modulating those brakes carefully. Okay, there we go. Lots of control. And while I was doing that, I had my bum slightly disengaged from the seat so that as I touch the brakes, I can move my center of gravity ever so slightly backwards, and I can also shift the bike to the left and the right for maneuvering so that my upper body stays more or less steady while the bike moves around underneath me. So there we go. An analysis of a bike crash. I hope you enjoyed that and got something of value for it. And no criticism of anybody involved, but here's the thing. The most important thing is to practice, 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 and practice again. Every time I go out on my bicycle, I practice maneuvers for emergencies. I'm always practicing emergency braking. I'm practicing sharp cornering, taking evasive movements. They have to be embedded in my brain so that when an emergency occurs, I do not freeze. I do not do the wrong things. This is a lesson that anybody can ride a bicycle fast. They can buy a flash bike. They can get very, very fit. But if they want to survive on a bicycle, they have to make sure that they have the skills to go with it. And that is the number one lesson of this analysis is skills, 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 and more skills, and skills before fitness and skills before speed. Okay, over and out. Have a lovely day, everybody.